Recording. All right, so we can go over Section 103, United States Marine Corps Mission and Organizational Fundamentals. I don't know if you want me to just like read off each one of like the questions and you can kind of go off of that, or I guess the questions would be more like the PQS like sign off things.
Oh, the organization in the Corps. 103.
Yeah, so we'll have like discuss the 7 elements of the Marine Corps mission.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling through it here real quick. Yeah. So what were you gonna do? Read off the questions or whatever you said?
Yeah, I'll just read off. So the first one is discuss the 7 elements of the Marine Corps mission.
Oh yeah, these are just the titles of them. I think these are pretty straightforward. Provide Fleet Marine Forces with combined arms supporting air components for service. States.
Because how I see that is pretty much like saying like the number one thing is providing arms and air components to support naval bases in the execution of their campaigns.
Yeah, so honestly, man, like a lot of this stuff is just, at least for my board, was just like straight up memorization. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like all these are pretty straightforward. You know, providing detachments and organizations for service armed vessels of the Navy, security detachments for the protection of naval property and naval stations and bases. You know, like they have the MSG, the Marine Security Guard personnel at certain bases, especially like nuclear bases where they have the nuclear subs like in Bangor and stuff. A lot of my guys who came down or who transferred over to our unit were the coming up from Bangor. So they'd come down.
Okay.
They in certain bases, like when I was out in Hawaii, it was all naval personnel providing security.
Like the ASF or something.
Coordinated, because like yeah, it's only at certain bases, usually like nuclear bases they provide, and then on security vessels like on the MEU and stuff, they hold secure like yeah, so I mean, a lot of this stuff is pretty straightforward. Is any of it like tripping you up? You need to explain any of them?
No, and I think more of like, so the goal would be to have it so you can kind of like explain the stuff, and then when we post up the videos, other people kind of have like an explanation of what those things are. Because I think like reading off of them, I think having like some examples, like you talked about, like the Marine Security Guard, like okay, so that's like one thing that you can like attach to that specific like component of the 7 elements. So for the next one, I know if you can give like examples of for the provide detachment organization for service armed vessels of the Navy and security detachments for the protection of naval property and naval stations and bases. So it sounds like the first part is giving security for the base itself, and then the second part is security for the actual like supplies, like materials.
Yeah, and so then like the third one, developing in coordination with the Army, Navy, Air Force, doctrine, tactics, and techniques, and equipment employed by landing forces in amphibious operations. So that's a lot more developing with the Navy because they do amphibious like beach landings and stuff like that with the Navy, but it's all in some type of Marine Corps doctrine, and you know DoD forces are able to all look at it and know what the Marine Corps does. Provide Marine forces for airborne operations in coordination with the Army, Navy, Air Force. I mean, this one not so much. Obviously, like special operations does airborne operations, but the Marine Corps doesn't have a specific like the Army. They don't have the 101st Airborne. It's more a special operations thing. Develop in coordination with the Army, Navy, Air Force, procedures and equipment. I guess same for airborne operations. Airborne operations can also mean like Marine Air Wing. They do, you know, Marine Corps has their own planes and helicopters and stuff, so they have to develop different TTPs for that.
TTPs?
Yeah, like shit, what is it? Techniques, tactics, and procedures. So TTP is just like you know, your doctrine, or you know, the Marine Corps orders and stuff like that. It's just TTP kind of refers to all of it.
Okay. And then expand peacetime components to meet wartime needs according to joint mobilization plans. So that kind of sounds like more of like the reserves, specifically like have the reserves ready so during peacetime, so that if we need to do something during wartime, we're like prepared to do that.
Yeah, it more or less refers to all of it, not just the reserves. So peacetime components, like now, you know, when, or not now, but recently when Afghan and Iraq started to, or like we started downsizing in like over in the Middle East, they need to maintain peacetime components. So like maintaining a ready force, not necessarily having every battalion stood up, but having enough forces ready to go in case something, you know, something else happens. And then other duties the president may direct. So like the catch-all, like in every other order or instruction you see, the CO has discretion to do whatever they want. So, all right.
So then I got the 7 elements of the mission being: 1, base security through air defenses and arms, and then conducting operations for U.S. and campaigns. Security for materials, amphibious operations or coordination with other branches as necessary. Special ops specifically with airbornes in conjunction with the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Marine Air Wing and coordinating TTPs or techniques, tactics, and procedures. Readiness during peacetime for wartime, and then following the president's orders as needed.
Yeah.
That's not about right? Cool.
Yeah.
All right, next, so discuss the 2 parallel chains of command that exist in the Marine Corps.
Yeah. The service chain begins with the president through the Secretary of Defense and continues through the Secretary of the Navy and the Commandant of the Marine Corps. And operational chains run from the president to the SecDef directly to commanders of combatant commands for missions and forces assigned to their commands. So,
so then why do they have 2 different chains? Like, why? What is the point of that? And then like, if there's 2 of them, are like one technically in charge of the other one, or do they kind of like work as a team? But then who? I'm assuming the president, because he's in charge of both, has the final say. But
yeah, so you see the president and the Secretary of Defense, obviously, because they run everything. That's number 1 and 2 in our chain of command of the military. And then in like the service chain, when it comes down to the Secretary of Navy and the Commandant and stuff, the president and the SecDef and everybody like above them can come down through those guys, and they can implement like force-wide changes of the Marine Corps. Like the Commandant can come down and change the uniform policy or whatever it is. It's like the most direct chain of command down. So it's basically taking everybody in that chain of command and, you know, implementing whatever needs to get done. And like, I guess you could almost think of it too as more of a admin versus operational type
that's
of
what I was
chain.
just thinking, because I was thinking about like, well, if the Commandant of the Marine Corps is technically probably in charge of the commanders, however, the commanders are the ones that are on the ground currently, so they should have a little more say of like what should we be doing, because the Commandant, even though he's getting informed, isn't like there day to day. I'm guessing.
Well, it's also not necessarily those commanders having a say. Think about it's like if the Joint Chiefs have an invasion plan, they don't have to go to the Commandant and then down through all those chains. The the Joint Chiefs can go directly to like the general first Marine Division, or even um, the uh, the CO of like whatever regiment, and be like, hey, you're doing this. It's not
Okay.
necessarily like, hey, tell the commandant to go tell the general to go tell the commanders we're doing, like there's an operational chain where they have direct contact with those guys to be able to um, whatever operational plans they have.
Okay. So would the commandant like not be involved in that anyways then? Because I'm saying like I guess my confusion is like you're making a second chain of command, but what is that? What is like the function of that? Because you have that chain of command. Is it just like quicker access to the people? And
And it's not
okay, like
necessarily
instead
the
of playing like
commandant.
telephone.
Yeah, it's not
Go ahead.
necessarily the commandant's not involved. It's just he might find out at the same time as um, his commanders, or
Okay.
whoever it is. Like think about if um, if chief comes down and starts telling the first, second, and third classes all something at the same time, like plan of the day to go, like, all right, go. Well, versus H1 getting called in the chief's office, being like, hey, you're gonna go tell your second classes to go do this, and you're gonna have the junior sailors, doing something else.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Then what are they talking about when they have like then directly to the commanders of combatant commands for missions and forces assigned to their commands? Does that mean that there's, I guess, the term combatant commanders, does that specifically refer to operational like activities? Like
Yeah.
a commander that's in charge of like our unit here wouldn't be considered a combatant commander because he's not in the like it's a reserve unit that isn't actively deployed. Does that mean that those roles
Um,
change then?
like so, I'm thinking combatant commanders is your um, like division forces, right? So you have anybody like like in a unit that would be involved in combat. So not just like
Okay.
not necessarily just a grunt unit thing, all in division. So like they have controls over the COs of like first tanks or LAR. Um, your victory units as well, like everybody under um, that division umbrella. So that's
Okay.
what I'm
That
saying
makes
when they
sense.
have the direct to combatant commanders or commanders of combatant commands. It's like the Joint Chiefs being able to go straight to Seventh Reg and being like, "Hey, you guys are about to go do this." They don't have to wait for orders from the Command General of First Marine Division, right? They skip him and can go directly to even to a battalion, being like, "Hey, 224, you guys, this is coming straight from the Joint Chiefs. Like we sent out all these letters, like just go and get it done." They're not waiting for it to trickle down through the chain of command.
Okay. So it sounds like more of like the urgent versus non-urgent things. So like if there's something that needs to happen right now, it's probably going to be coming through the operational chain of
Yeah.
command. If
So
it's
think
something
about
that's like changing a uniform, okay, well that can happen when it happens and that can go through service.
yeah, and think of operational command or like what operational commands do. They deploy and they go and do um, combat. You know what I mean? Like versus because like for us, we have our shore and our sea and shore commands, right? So like
Hmm.
being with an operational command is our sea duty versus being when I was with the clinic that was a shore duty. Like we're not deploying, we're not waiting for orders to come down from whoever it is to go tell us to go do something.
Okay.
And
Cool. Then the next
that's
one,
kind of what I mean with like the service chain too, right? So if it's just something mundane and administrative and shouldn't mundane, but like some administrative where it's not as time sensitive, it goes through the whole chain of command. Everybody gets their stamp on it. Versus, hey, we're deploying, we're going straight to the source.
okay. Then the next one, identify and discuss the three Marine Corps operating forces.
Um, so MAR4 organizes MAGTAS as either and are either employed as part of naval expeditionary forces or separately as part of larger joint or combined forces. The commanders of MAR4 Atlantic and Pacific serve as Marine Corps component commanders to the respective combatant commanders and may also serve as commanding generals of Fleet Marine Forces, Atlantic, Pacific, and Europe. Um, and then Marine Corps security forces at naval installations. Include approximately 3,400 Marines who protect key naval installations and facilities worldwide, although not assigned to combatant commands. They are part of the operating forces of the Marine Corps and Marine security guard detachments at embassies and consulates around the globe. Oh, okay, right. So MAR4 is your division, right? So within division, you have your, I shouldn't just say what's in division, but like the Marine Corps forces are like the general, what you think of as the Marine Corps, because like you have the Air Wing division supply, they all deploy as like as a MAGTF to like Middle East, right? You take, because it's you don't just have infantry, right? Or you don't just have division, you have supply out there, you have the Air Wing. That's your Mar 4.
What is division then? Because I thought infantry would like fall into division. Is division like something separate from the other entities
No,
like logistics and
no,
air
division. You have your division, your Air Wing, and logistics. Division is all of your combat roles, right? So within
Okay,
division,
so it'd
you
be
have
like mortars and infantry and everyone that's like actually on the
well,
ground or in the thing.
mortars are in infantry. So you have your infantry, you have your LAR tanks, your amphibious, your AAVs, your amphibious assault vehicles. It'd be easier, like if we next chapter we can go to like the breakdown of division and
Okay.
what it all entails. But think of MAR4 as the whole, as the Marine Corps in general. You know, your all your operational forces coming together and for whatever it is, deployments. Think of it in terms of like Iraq or Afghan. When we go to combat, you know, your Marine forces as a whole are what goes out there.
Okay.
Marine Corps security forces is what I was talking about. Those guys up at Bangor, Washington, who are protecting the nuclear base. It's where all the nuclear subs are docked um, for the West Coast. I shouldn't say all of them, but that's one of the bases that houses the nuclear subs on the West Coast, and they have the security forces up there. They also do what was it called? Sorry, it breaks down to a few more things, but they're more like it says, you know, key naval installations and facilities. They're specifically there for that. And then
So it's like additional security. So they'd be like probably doing more stuff for like the White House or something like that.
no, so
Like a
the
special duty.
security guard detachment would probably be the White House. Or no,
Oh, the Marine Security Guard.
um, I forget specifically what the White House is. That might be security forces, but the Marine security guard detachments are those dudes that if you see in the movies, there's always Marine staffing embassies and stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
That's them, the security guard detachments. Yeah, they do a lot of like State Department stuff. Hold on, I need a tissue.
Okay, then the next one would be discuss the purpose of the headquarters Marine Corps.
Hard quarters. Headquarters Marine Corps consists of the Commandant of the Marine Corps and those all staff agencies are advised to assist the Commandant in discharging those responsibilities prescribed by law and higher authority. Commandant of the Marine Corps is directly responsible for the Secretary of the Navy to the Secretary of the Navy for the administration, discipline, internal organization, training requirements, efficiency, readiness, Marine Corps. Yeah, so these headquarters, you can see when we go through like the breakdown of division and stuff, every unit has like a side headquarters, company, battalion, whatever the breakdown is. So this is the top headquarter breakdown for the Marine Corps. It's basically the commandant and his staff all being directly responsible to the Secretary of the Navy, because the Marine Corps is a department of the Navy, and so it's not like this anymore. We like to talk shit and say the Navy's in charge, but basically like you have your Secretary of the Navy, the General of the Air Force, General of the Army, and the Commandant.
Okay.
While technically the Commandant is oh wait, sorry. I'm talking about something else. Disregard that. But the headquarters of the Marine Corps is just the top, like basically when you hear headquarters, it's like administrative almost.
So it sounds like the headquarters of the Marine Corps is specifically for the admin and staff of the commandant. They usually try like training, discipline, and other admin duties as directed.
So yeah, so you see all these like everything from admin, discipline, internal organization, training, requirements, efficiency, and readiness. Like those are just huge coveralls for the operation of the Marine Corps. You know what I mean? Like all those things put together.
They do all the stuff to make it so that it functions, so that the Marines are able to do all the operational things.
Well, they run, so that's like the top echelon though. They run more like policy and things like that.
Okay.
And as it trickles down, like, so they're not, they get all the reports from all the units and all the generals and stuff, and they'll be like, hey, basically East Coast, West Coast, Europe, here's our numbers, we're all good, kind of thing.
Okay.
And they dictate policy. It'd be like, hey, everybody has to reach these goals, like whatever it is, in those categories. And then it goes down the chain of command.
Okay. Next one. So describe in general a Marine Air Ground Task Force, or MAGTAF.
So MAGTAF, and the Marine Corps Principal Organization. And remember, so for all these, like I'm describing all these, right? Just make sure when I board it out, basically what they wanted was like almost, not necessarily like a word for word reciting of all these definitions, but make sure you know the keywords in there, like like, I mean, I don't, what keywords mean, like the thing, the words in there that really kind of describe it and, or define it.
So it sounds like for the first one to be like a rapidly responding aviation organization.
For which one? Oh, for MAGTAF?
Yeah.
So the MAGTAF, let me read this, make sure I got everything here. It's MAGTAF, Principal Organization for all conduct of operations, military operations, test was. Humanitarian, peacekeeping, combat operation. It may be shore or sea-based in support of joint multinational major operations. MAGTAF deploys amphibious air contingency of maritime positions. Yeah, so a MAGTAF, like all this stuff in the middle, like what was it? MAGTAFs are organized, trained, and equipped for missions ranging from humanitarian assistance to peacekeeping to intense combat, and can operate in permissive, uncertain, and hostile environments, shore or sea-based. And MAGTAFs are, like it says up here, balanced combined armed forces with organic ground, aviation, and sustainment elements. So it has, like what I said for Marine Forces, MARFOR, it has all of it. It has your division, your air wing, and logistical support all built into one like operational unit almost. Like they're not their own organic unit. It's a bunch of units all put together to to
Great one.
do operations, like I said, humanitarian or combat, but all put together to uh, they're all put together to accomplish one mission. So like when we were in Iraq, it was SP. It was a special purpose MAGTF 15.2. So it was all of us. So it was 3-7 we had all the elements behind us to go out and do our mission.
Can you explain like the second to last ones for the when deployed aboard amphibious shipping mag task maintain a continuous presence at strategic locations around the globe and can be rapidly moved and indefinitely stationed at the scene of potential trouble. So does that mean like they're just able to be like either rapidly deployed or they can be at a specific location?
Where did that start off again? I
The
think we might have
second or the fourth one down.
the fourth one down.
Yeah.
Oh, we might have different. Oh shit.
Oh, so I can just read what mine says. Mine says, bless you. It says, when deployed aboard amphibious shipping, MAGTAS maintain a continuous presence at strategic locations around the globe and can be rapidly moved and indefinitely stationed at a scene of potential trouble. So that's just saying that they could either be like rapidly deployed or they can be there like long term.
Yeah, so it could be you could have a small, it's like a SP Mag or a MAGTF isn't like necessarily a certain size. So you can have a MAGTF on a ship, on like a mule.
Okay.
And it could also be so sea or shore based. So you could have a MAGTF in Afghanistan. So like what was it? In certain AO, like where the Marine Corps is operating, could be considered like a MAGTF. So like sea or shore based, they could be like if they're on a ship, they could be rapidly moved. They can go in, they can be pulled out, or they could be long term, like shore based, with built up structure in a certain AO, like in Afghanistan.
So for one of my bullets, it's saying that they have the ability of an expeditionary force to regenerate, reorganize, replenish, and reorient itself for a new mission without having to return to its home base. How do they do that?
So like on a ship, if they get sent out to what's that sea right off Mediterranean, right outside Iraq, like so they're basically that I think it's whatever, but basically they are positioned off the coast of like Iraq to possibly go in, like monitor the situation, possibly go in, do combat operations. And then some type of like a hurricane or tsunami or something hits close by, they can have some of their supplies and personnel swapped out on the ship, so then they can just go straight down to provide humanitarian relief and stuff.
Okay. Okay, cool. Next one, 103.6. Discuss the organization and mission of the MEF, Marine Expeditionary Forces, elements and components.
My thing just rebooted. I don't know what's going on. I gotta reload my thing. Let's see. 103. Okay, so I'm not sure what SRI, you have it on there, SRIG in the.
No, mine starts with the command element and starts about MES, MHGs, MARCENT, talks about the ACE, the GCE, and the LCE.
Okay. Mine looks different. I have So on this little tree, it has command element up top, but then it only breaks it down to the ACE, GCE, and logistics.
Okay.
But in so far, so in the command element, right, it's another thing is another like has another headquarters element to it, and like I know you're gonna need to know one through the shops 1 through 6. In
Okay.
the command section, it's broken down as G, like G1, G2. You have that too in yours?
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, G1, yeah, through G6.
Yeah. So it's broken down like that because, like, in like the battalion level, you have your S shops, S1, S2. I don't know why they have different, G versus S. But I
So
know,
battalion level it's S shops, and then for the command level it's G shops. But I'm assuming they're synonymous.
yeah, so the numbers still coordinate
As I say.
the same thing. It's just the letter in front. Like you see, G6 is communication and information systems, and then G1 personnel. And I guess so they still correlate to the same shops, but it's just different lettering.
Okay, so command element is just another headquarters.
Yeah.
Or are those the same thing? Is the headquarters like the one that we were talking about? Well, I guess that was the main headquarters. So I'm guessing then the headquarters of the Marine Corps breaks down to the command elements, and the command elements have those G1 through 6 elements in it, and those other things on there, right?
Yeah. So whatever it is. So like when you and battalion, right? I'm in with H&S company. We have all these shops, S1 through S6. Plus, like there's more stuff that goes with it, but it has all of the different shops. And then when you get up to, so that's for like battalion. Each company has their own headquarters, or it's not headquarters anymore. It's oh yeah, is it H&S? Or headquarters platoon, right? So even in the companies, they have headquarters platoon, and it's got like COXO, first sergeant, and all that. And then when you go the other way too, you go up to like regiment. Regiment has its own headquarters battalion, right? So
Okay.
each section has their own headquarters.
Then what about these other guys? So the command, that was the command section that you were talking about with first sergeant, COXO stuff. Comptroller division, communication system managing office, special ops, staff judge advocate, and then public affairs. Do they not have each one of those? Are there supposed to be each one of those with every one of the battalions, or do they have it at like higher level than that?
No, I think that's I know it. I don't know if it's with regiment, but I know it definitely is with division and above. So like when it said special operations on there, right?
Yeah.
The recon dudes. So they
Yeah.
fall under, they work directly for division. They don't fall under any of unless it's force recon falls under, I forget how. I'd have to see that. I don't have that tree in front of me. I'd have to see it again. But right, those all, I'm pretty sure that's with all right. So let me back up. These are all with the MEF, Marine Expeditionary Forces. And that's more like, so think about the MEF as like a more big picture, like on the when we're talking about the MAGTF, how it could be small, large, maneuverable, stationary. The MEF is on the large stationary side, and it's like a lot bigger. So when we were deployed, we fell under second MEF.
Okay.
And all the operations in Afghanistan ran through the command element, which was second MEF. And then
this is just like bigger picture stuff. So like every battalion isn't going to necessarily need a JAG, but up in charge of them, there's going to be a JAG officer somewhere within that.
With the MEF, and yeah, these are operational components. The MEF is operational,
Okay.
I believe. Yeah. So like the JAG is still going to be with division. You know, there you have your divisional guys. Hold on.
Bless you.
Allergies are the worst. Yeah, so you have all that in the command element. And then mine just breaks it down to AC, GCE, and logistics.
Does yours have anything on there about the MEF's headquarters group?
The MEF headquarters.
Yeah, because it has like provides administrative train. I guess it'd probably be like any other headquarters group. It's just like admin for them.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Mine does not, though. I don't have that on there.
what about MARCENT? It's
Um,
designed as the Marine Corps service component of the U.S. Central Command. MARCENT is responsible for all Marine Corps forces in the CENTCOM area. That seems kind of self-explanatory.
no, I don't have that on here either.
Marine Corps First Reserves, MFR. Also again, quite self-explanatory.
Mine just jumps back down after that initial on the MEF. It goes down to the MEB, the Marine Expeditionary Brigades.
Oh, mine does that for the next like couple sections. Okay. Within the MEF, does it talk about the ACE and the GCE and the LCE?
Yeah, mine does. Yeah, but
Okay,
it's just
can you go over that?
it's just a broad overview of like, you know, air, wing, ground combat, and the logistics.
So then pretty much for the air combat elements, it'd just be aviation for the Marine Corps. Ground combat elements would be pretty much self-explanatory, like reconnaissance stuff that they're doing for the actual ground forces. And then logistics is in charge of like readiness for supplies.
Yeah.
Pretty much, okay. Then 103.7, we got identify the location of the 3 standing MEFs.
Yeah, so the 3 MEFs, just first MEF is West Coast, second MEF East Coast, and third MEF is overseas. Japan, Hawaii.
Location. Is it first MEF or would it just be one MF, or is that
First MEF.
First MEF, okay. First MEF, SoCal, and Arizona. Second MEF is North and South Carolina. And then third MEF is Japan and Hawaii. All right, 103.8. Discuss the organization and mission of the following expeditionary Marine brigades. I'm sorry, Marine Expeditionary Brigade, elements and their components.
I don't really remember too much about the MEB. We never like deployed under it. Is there like more of a definition in your book about what it is?
Yeah, give me a second. So it has on there, MEBs they are a MAGTF built around the Reinforced Infantry Regiment and Aircraft Group and a Combat Logistics Regiment, or FWD. There's a Brigadier General normally commands the MEB as an expeditionary force is capable of rapidly deploying and employment of various or via amphibious shipping, strategic air lift, mirroring with maritime prepositioned forces, MPFs, assets, and combination thereof. They consist of a combat element, air combat element, ground combat element, and logistics combat element. So
Yeah.
it sounds like they're like an additional like MEF almost, but like a smaller one, I'm guessing maybe.
Yeah. So I mean, these all break down to relatively similar components. I don't know what it's used for versus the meth, you know. I don't really have much to expand on on these guys here.
All right. Cool. 109.3, discuss the organization and mission of the following Marine Expeditionary Units, MEUs, operational or special operations capable, and then elements and their components. So I think it's just talking about MEUs.
Oh, yeah, actually flipping back and forth, it looks like, yeah, they're just, the MEB at least is just a smaller MEF because it's got aircraft wing versus aircraft group, right? You have a Marine division in the MEF compared to a regiment reinforced in the MEB. So it looks like it just gets smaller because I know MEU is basically is the smallest and it just works off of like um Jesus. What are those? What are the ships called? The smaller aircraft carriers. The It's not amphibious, is it? Yeah, amphibs, amphibious ships. So the MEU will deploy on one of those. It's got a battalion, you know, your helicopter squadron, and then obviously your logistics portion of it as well. And they usually have some type of like recon element. So when it says special operations capable, usually they deploy with some type of recon element in there too. So I had a
And with the
buddy who
MEBs
was
or with the
with,
MEUs?
what's up?
With the MEBs or with the MEUs?
With the MEU. So if
Okay.
you can see yours in your definition, does it have special operations capable attached
Yeah,
to
I think that's what it's talking about. Yeah, because it says
it?
like mission of the MEUs, special operations capable.
Yeah. Because my buddy, I was talking, you know, a few of my buddies came from other battalions deployed with the MEU. They're basically just chilling on amphib. He said he got to do a lot of like training. He had recon guys out there with him. They do a lot of training, and um, they basically deploy as like like a forward readiness group. You know what I mean? So if anything, like on my second deployment, we went back to Iraq in the uh, um, Inherent Resolve, the new campaign Inherent Resolve that's they're deploying with right now. Well, my buddy was actually the first unit in there, and they went in off of the MEU. So they went in initially because they're right there. They go in quick, fast, you know, set up shop until they stand up a unit back stateside, like a larger unit, to go and replace them. So and they'll usually go in. I think I forget what the time frame is, but it's not like you know, if they were to deploy off of the ship, um, it's more of like a short term thing before they stand up a battalion or you know like a um, some type of magtaf back home to send out to replace them.
So it sounds like, oh, if something's happening, we want someone there right now, we'll send the MEU. And then once we get everyone else situated, they can come and replace the MEU so they can go do the same thing that they just did somewhere else.
Yeah. So like the 31st MEU, they're usually kicking around. Like it's basically always deployed, and they just rotate the units on and off of the ship. Like so, one battalion will be out there for their 7th month deployment. They'll come back, swap out uh, personnel, and then just go right back out. So 31st MEU is usually chilling, uh, like Southeast Asia, near those countries like Philippines, Thailand. You know, if you hear a lot of guys talking about their port calls when they're on the MEU there, and then I forget what the other number. I just know a few of my buddies on the 31st, but they had another one shown over by Iraq. You know, in that whatever that sea, I forget what sea it is. I need to look it up. It's gonna bug me. And they'll deploy off of there. And when they went in and they stood up like at certain places in Iraq, they were only there for I think it was like 3 months until they had that next battalion like stood up ready to go and deployed as more of a long term thing.
Okay. So then the next one for 103.10, identify the location of each of the 7 Muse command elements and the MEFs in which they reside.
Persian Gulf. That's what it's called.
Persian Gulf.
It was the Persian Gulf, ready to go, and then they deployed off of there. All right, sorry. What was the next?
Identify the location of each of the 7 Muse
Oh yeah, here it is.
special operations and then command elements of the MEFs.
Yeah, so right, like the third, it says right here, third MEF is the 31st Mu, and if you remember, third MEF is Japan and Hawaii. Second MEF is East Coast, 22nd, 24, and 26. And first
Oh,
MEF,
okay. So
West
for
Coast.
each one of the locations for the MEFs, they have their own set of Muse that they can pull from.
Yeah.
Is that the saying? Okay, okay. Location of the 7 Muse. Actually, 7 Muse special operations capable and MEF. Okay, so then the first MEF, which is located in Arizona and Southern California,
Mhm.
have the 11th, 13th, and 15th Muse. Then the second MEF, which is located in North and South Carolina, have the 22nd, 24th, and 26th MEU. And then the third MEF, which is located in Japan and Hawaii, has the 31st MEU. These are all special operations capable. So I guess this might be a silly question, but if all these have like, oh, they're Muse that are special operations capable, if they all say that, why even mention that they're special operations capable? Wouldn't it be like make more sense to mention it if they aren't special operations capable, if they all are?
Yeah,
Or they're Muse that aren't special operations capable? Because I feel like that'd be kind of silly too if they're supposed to be like shooting out there and then be like, we don't know.
yeah, I'm not sure why.
That's about it. All right, then last one we got 103.11. Discuss the organization and mission of the following special purpose or special purpose Marine Air Task or a Marine Air Ground Task Force elements or SP MAGTAF or Special MAGTAF. Do you have that same question or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
So normally, I don't know how to. I don't
So
want
it
to say
says that
like
it's a,
mag tests are specifically designed to go certain places. Like when you got the Mu going to, like the same routes every time it, not same routes, but like the same areas every time it deploys. When they stood us up to go into Iraq for Inherent Resolve, so we were the second unit to rotate in, and we were a special purpose MAGTAF because they inevitably stood us up for this specific mission. Wherein like the 31st Mu always deploys to like Southeast Asia. That's just like what it normally does, right? When
it's like
Afghanistan.
a known, like it's like everyone like kind of knows that that's the way that they do it, but they don't officially like technically another unit could go there, but they usually use the same one. Is that what it's saying?
Not the same units, but like that ship when like don't think of it as like a tangible thing. Think of it as like a deployment. So the 31st Mu is a deployment, but that deployment always goes to the same place.
Okay.
So if you have a deployment that all of a sudden something happens, like
Humanitarian crisis or something.
yeah, like so a hurricane or tsunami or something crushes somewhere, they'll stand up an SP, they call it special purpose MAGTAF because it's not like a normal everyday, not a normal everyday deployment. It's specifically put together to go handle this certain mission.
Okay, so it's pretty much just a MAGTF that is made because of something odd that happened, whether it be humanitarian issue, like I think I had on your oil spill, disaster relief, something like that. So
Yeah, so we deployed as a special purpose MAGTF, and I don't know if it's changed yet because they're still deploying to these places, right? Like the same AOs that we were at, it was like what 6 years ago now. So they're still deploying there. And I don't know if it's still considered a SP MAGTF, but like if this becomes like a normal deployment AO, it will eventually stop being special purpose and be like the MEF would probably take over or something.
so it says that it's the fourth type of MAGTF. What are the other three?
The mu, MEB, and MEF.
Okay, so those are the different types. Okay, so mu, MEB, and MEF. MEF.
Yep. Remember, MEF, biggest, MEB, mu,
Next
and then
one.
like an SP MAGTF.
And then special
Yeah,
purpose
SP MAG,
probably adjust to whatever, however big they need it to be, I'm assuming.
yeah. And SP MAGTF is small, really small.
Oh, is it? Okay, okay.
Because it was just us. It was just our battalion.
So it's smaller than a mu then?
Yeah. Because it was just our battalion heading out, and they had the breakdown on. Where'd it go, man? Yeah, they don't have a tree for this, but it was basically when we deployed it was just our battalion, like our battalion reinforced. So we had some, we were piggybacking off like the logistics that were already out there. We were, and we didn't have an air wing with us.
Okay, cool. All right.